Hey everybody, this month I'm answering many of the frequently asked questions that we get, and I just want to give you as clear and as concise of answers as I possibly can. And today's question is it really possible to overcome depression and anxiety naturally? The answer is yes, in just about every single case. Okay, the only cases in which I have found it is essentially impossible or improbable for somebody to overcome depression and anxiety is if there is literally something physically damaged with their nervous system. Okay, so, and by the way, don't go thinking that this may be you just because you had a car accident 5 years from now, okay? This is a very rare situation, very, very rare, probably 1 or 2% of the cases I've dealt with over the years. But in almost every single case, even if there is a complicating factor of, say, PTSD or OCD, or there was some very significant physical, even sexual abuse in the past, something along those lines, there is almost always a natural path to a sustainable recovery out of depression and anxiety. Now, I want to address the first thing that's probably going through your mind if you've been dealing with these issues for a long period of time, which is, you're probably saying to yourself, this is BS, right? How in the world could you say it's possible for me to overcome this when I've been dealing with this for 10, 20, 30 years? So firstly, let me share with you, the reason why most people continue to have these issues year after year is a combination of two things. Firstly, they've convinced themselves that change is not possible. And they've convinced themselves that change is not possible for a combination of A, they've been going through ineffective methods, and B, they don't want to believe at some point that change is possible, because if change were really possible, then the idea that you've been struggling with this for 20 years would be too unbearable, right? The idea that you could have actually overcome this if you did something different, but you didn't, is a little bit too much for people to grapple with. So subconsciously, a lot of people trick themselves and say, no, it's not possible to overcome this. It's not that I haven't done the right thing or that I haven't implemented the right approach. It's simply that it's not possible, okay? And you gotta make sure that you don't fall into that trap. So the first big problem is that you develop a sense of certainty that it's not gonna get solved. The second big problem is you're simply going through a series of methods that are based on a very distinct set of goals that have nothing to do with solving the problem. They have everything to do with coping with the problem. Okay, so this is what I call the coping paradigm versus the solving paradigm. Once you enter into the coping paradigm, right, if you're pursuing the traditional methods, breathing techniques and meditation and journaling, even non-directive and more passive forms of talk therapy and counseling in most cases, right? Most of the time, okay, not all, but most of the time, like over 90% of the time in the cases I've surveyed, those types of methods lead to only being able to cope with the problem, being able to make sure that the symptoms are mitigated or minimized, rather than actually getting to the source of the issue. Okay, so those are the two primary reasons why most people why most people have their depression or their anxiety persist over a very long period of time. They either believe it's not possible, in which case no matter what method you're gonna try, you're not gonna get results. And then secondly, you're using methods that have this explicit goal of coping with the problem, not dealing with the source of the problem. So all you're gonna do is bat away symptoms and convince yourself that dealing with it from the source is just not possible. So hope that adds clarity to you. Very curious here, let's hear your thoughts below. Does this resonate with your experience? Does it match what you've dealt with in the past? Do you think you might have been wrongfully concluding that change would not be possible for you after all? I'd very much like to hear what you have to say. And let's talk again here shortly. Take care for now.